Hey there viewers, how's it going? At long last we have now got our health and safety system being able to be displayed on video. What you will see here is our dashboard. This is where you will see that there is a great overview and a quick snapshot of how your systems are that you're monitoring from all your key metrics. So on here we've got some fictitious sites. We've got 6 sites: Derby A, Derby B, Whitwell, Ashgate, Hull site, COVID test centres, and the overall status. And that is taken from our data entry screen. So at the top we've got a number of incidents on there, which I don't think I'm using that at the minute, but I'll put it back in. We've got our general audits, COVID audits, because they're 2 different types of audits. Safety improvements, so any safety improvements you do, you would enter them in here. You change them titles to suit yourself, and if you need more space, then we just add rows in the middle. So they're your leading indicators. So it totals up there 33, 21 negative, and then there's the task manager status there as well, just to fill in the gaps. So the traffic light system gets its information from this section here, and this is our incidents page, where you would record any incidents that any particular site had. So at the moment, if you go back to the dashboard, you can see on the traffic lights that everything's all green within the parameters that we have set. So if we go back to it and we pick one and say, right, Whitwell has had, let's say, 70 slips and falls over the year, it's had a bearing on everything. So because we've had that many, it has now highlighted all the other systems that make up that figure. And not necessarily for that site, but overall. So but Whitwell has now had 70 incidents, and the button's gone red. We go down to the traffic light system, and that has gone to amber because it's beginning to get out of hand. So across all the sites you can see straight away that Whitwell is the worst performance site. So we go again and we'll put another 74 in for there. Vehicle accidents, something's really going wrong there. Go back to the dashboard, it's jumped up to red. And because that's gone to red, your overall status automatically goes to amber, saying you need to watch this. So if all you was looking at was that particular screen there, traffic light system, you would know straight away that something's wrong, and then you could go back into the key metrics and everything and your tabs to see where that is actually coming from. So again, we go back to the data entry screen. Let's say we do that again for 2 other sites, 74, 70. It can be lower than that to trigger it. You can set that to whatever you want. It's just that we set it quite high. So now Derby A has gone to red as well, and it's putting us unhappy face there because it's not good. It's sad because the site's going down. So then we go back to the data entry and we take them out. Go back to dashboard. It's updated. It's happy again. But we're still at amber on the overall status because Whitwell is not performing. So we go back to there and we've corrected that now that they've been put right. But obviously you would keep that recorded for the year. You wouldn't take it out as soon as you saw or something. You still have the incident, so you would still keep it recorded. But for the purposes of the video, we're just taking it out just so you can see that it works back and forth and the overall status changes. Now to get that to go red, you could be really silly and say we've had 100 there, 100 there, 100 there, 100 there. That might even be enough. Go across the dashboard. 4 of your sites have gone red, 2 are green. You're still at amber. But I'm sure if we then go to another one and put 100 in there, depending on what key metrics you set, it's now it's actually disappeared. Why's that gone there then? Okay. Right, so I've just gone back into that because as you saw, that red disappeared there. The reason for that is because the parameters for that was saying less than 600, and it was actually coming out at 654, so it didn't know what to do. So that's why it came up there. So I've just knocked it back down in the data entry. Go back to that screen. I've just taken the 100 out there, 100 out there, and just change them to 50. So just to demonstrate that will change to red, but they'll stay amber because they're not as high now because they're only 50s. they're all red. If you then go back and you change that to 0, 0, 0, this should be in effect already. Go there, 3 are green. Now we've gone back down to amber because again Ashgate is still red. Go back to Ashgate and take that down to 20. The traffic light's gone down, but you've still got 2 sites that are showing amber, but overall the status is green, but it's getting out of amber. So then you would change that to 0, that to 0, back down to the dashboard, everything's green again. So, and then that they would be mirrored on here as well. So you saw it's Ashgate is showing it's got 24 unsafe acts. So we go and see where they are. Take that out, put it back to 0, go back there, and it'll alter it again. Now the COVID test centres are higher, it's with only 6. So we can go to that, see where them 6 are showing, and that's 5 there. Change that down, go back to the dashboard, and it's updated. Only 5 now, COVID test centres, so that you can change the whole site. So as you can see, any site that you change, you automatically update it live as you do it. So the highest will always show, but your overall status is going to be down there, and that just mirrors what's up there, the overall status. And I can just emphasise that point for you, but just go back to here and just put in 200 on there. Your overall status is now amber, so you just change it to amber, and that's where the problem lies at Ashgate. So it tells you all that just off that one screen. So go back and put that to 0, go back across, and everything goes back down to green. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is again on the data entry screen, and it is the audits. So you can see the general audits have got scores. These are put in manually because whatever you use to do your audits, you'll come out with an audit percentage score at the end of it. We happen to use Safety Culture's Our Audits app, and we use that on our mobile devices. So the auditor, including myself, will walk around the site with a drop down list on an iPad screen, and it's quick and easy. It says that you haven't got to go back to site and start writing everything up again. It's done on site, including photographs. But that's digressing from the point. So let's say we've been picking on Whitwell a bit, so let's just go and continue with that theme. Change their score was only 10%, so the total overall audit score is 77.15. So if you go to here, you'll see the needle is showing 77% audit status, but the overall audit status is still green. So we go back down to the data entry again and say another auditor has done another site. Let's just make it realistic and change it. Another auditor has gone to Ashgate, and that is only 5%. Okay, so you go back to the dashboard, and it's gone, which makes the total average score at 60%, 60.54%. So you go to the dashboard, and it's mirrored that on there, and the overall audit status now is amber. Your overall health and safety status is green because the audits is different, but it would actually be captured on there. So if you look at that, I would think, well, okay, we've audited the sites, they are amber, so it's not as it should be, but everything's showing green. So then you would just titivate this in version 2 to make the audit status reflect on there, depending on which site has been non-conforming. So that will probably be another work in progress for myself. So we go back to the data entry, and of course if you continue with that and say 10% across that site, 10% on that site, we're now at 25.8%, and that needle will drop down substantially now, and it's gone down to 25%. This shading here you can change in the data points on the actual chart screen. I have tried it and it is difficult, so I want to look a bit further into that, because ideally I would like that red to be a bit higher up than that, but that's where it is at the moment. And you're still audit status is amber, So if we go further again and change that to 1%, and again you can change this criteria on the data input for these charts. They're in tabs that are hidden so that you don't inadvertently delete any formulas. So now we've changed that down to 1. It's now at 20%. Take that out at 1, and the reason it's still high up there is because the site that's no longer active is still showing at 94. We can change that down to 45%. Now we're at 980, and now you can see that needle has dropped down to just below 10. It's well into the red, and the status on the overall audit status is showing red as well. Okay, so that's how we're getting that. So we just back out that and put them in back where it were. We're at 93.62. That should just fly back now, down to green and back up to 93. So as you can see, already it's looking at a useful tool just by putting in basic information. So you could have, you could be the person on your site responsible for health and safety, but you might have people within your team that are doing various tasks. So rather than asking them, say, where are we at with this, where are we at with that, they could enter it onto this screen, which might be on a shared drive, and update it accordingly. So when you next open it up, you know exactly where you are at any one time. That's the whole intention of this system, so that you're not rooting around looking at various folders, various drives for information when it can all be on one system. The difficulty is getting people to use it and to keep using it religiously. Once that happens, then everything's good. So for the audit, you can say on this screen, last audit date was the 25th of May 21, and that was carried out by myself. The next one is due on the 24th of November, because we do ours every 6 months, and then the next one after that is on the 26th of May 22. You don't have to keep a tab on when your next one's due, but it is handy if you're doing your schedules in another task manager or in your diary, for instance. You want to know what's due and when you can fit something in, because you'll look and think, all right, in November, around about the 24th, I've got to fit in an audit for Derby A site, or for whichever site it happens to be. Okay, so we've got a scheduled audit date for the 24th of November 21, so that means we're on time and the site is still active. I'll just tell you what that actually means. If the site's not active, then it's pointless monitoring the systems for it if it's not active, so it will put a line through it to say you can disregard that because this site is no longer active. So we put it back on and put it active. So if I say the next scheduled audit is, well, the last one was 25th of May, we can change that and say it was on the 1st of February, for instance, 21. It's still on time because it's saying the next scheduled audit is on the 3rd of August 21. Okay, so we change that to the 1st of February. The next one is due in 6 months' time, which is around about August. It's still on time. But let's say, for instance, the last audit date was, let's say, 10th of October last year. Because of COVID or whatever, it didn't actually get done. So, but it's still showing you that it is late. So it flags up straight away and shows you that that audit is actually late. And if we go on and look on the report site, we've got COVID audits. We haven't actually got, we have got audits on audit scores, but not the actual status. But you can add on to that. We'll come back onto the reports page a bit later on. I just wanted to see if I actually included that on the reports page. So that would be late, but in actual fact it was done, let's say 02 this year. The next one is on the 4th of August, and the one after that is 3rd of February. So then dates will just help you to factor it into your Outlook calendar or whichever calendar system you use. Okay. So as you can see here, we've got COVID swab sites. They're no longer running at the moment, so they're not active. And we've got another site that may be opening up shortly, so that's not live yet, but it's there waiting. We've actually scheduled it in. Same for the COVID audits. The last one was 18th of February. The next one is due, the last one was done on the 18th of February, and the next one is due on on 20th of August. So if we say audit is done, let's say 01/20. Right, so it was done on the 1st of January. The next one was due on the 2nd of July 2020, and it's not been done, so it's showing up as being late. And that's, so it's a similar principle as we've got up here, but it's just on the COVID sites. So you can just take that back, and there you go. So, and that would work across any, and you would change who the auditor was. You might say, well, yeah, I was scheduled to do that, but in actual fact, let's say Debbie did that one, so you can just put it in there. Okay, so this one is our safety improvements, as we touched on earlier. Anything that you put in there will change on your main screen. So put 15 in there, that's increased on there. Go to your dashboard, and that's updated that to there. See, so you can see how that's working. We've done the incidents, so you can go on for any number of key metrics on this page. You can just keep going forever. These are just my comment section, so that you can see, well, I've got several incidents there, what was it? And you just write down there what it happened to be. So we had, like at Ashgate site, we had a DSE incident, and that was a chair failure in room 6, for instance. So it'll give you a snapshot. The difficulty will be, which I have to address yet, is if you have multiple issues. You could just put a / and put the next one in order. But if it became a lot of issues, then it would start to look a bit untidy on here. So the next stage will be to find something to collate the information. But at the minute, let's stay one step at a time. So the next thing we've got is, if we go back, touch on audits, we can schedule our audits in here. On the data entry site, we've got our audits on here, and the main audit. So we're looking at the main audits. So let's say that's Whitwell again. Okay, so Whitwell, the site is active. If it wasn't active, you just put still not active, and it will be crossed out. Because again, it's pointless monitoring something that's not active, because it won't achieve anything. Site active, we've had a lot of problems with that site, so we'll make it a high priority. Status of that is it can be on hold, which goes on red because it's on hold. So it will say that it was due by the 14th of May, and it's overdue, and the last audit was not completed because it's still on hold, and it should have been completed on May. So it will tell you straight away that it's not completed, but the next one in 6 months' time is actually on schedule. So we change that. We'll say, okay, well, we actually did do that, so we put it down as completed, and now it's saying it's not due. The next one is on the 13th of November, and everything is on schedule. And that can be, you can just drop in as many sites as you want in there, just using the drop down list. Okay, so then we go across to the task manager. If you create a task, bearing in mind these are health and safety tasks, they are not work related tasks that are not health and safety related, because that will just mess with your key metrics and make inaccurate results. So you just monitor only health and safety issues on here. So you can say if we have another issue on our actions, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 5 actions outstanding. If we go to our dashboard, or even go to our reports page where these actions are recorded, we can actually look. So on the task, we've got 11 actions raised, we've got 5 outstanding, and 3 that are late, 3 that are in progress, 2 that's not started. So if we have a look at that, it's saying we've got 11. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 actions, some of which are completed. So the ones that are not completed, it said, I think it said 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got that one is work in progress, that's work in progress, not started, work in progress. So that's 5. So we go back to our reports page and it says the total outstanding is 5. If we then go back and complete one, so we say create authorized users list for step ladders, we've done that. I did that, or we can change it down to say Debbie did that. Status is completed now, so it's marked it off, it's shaded it out because it's completed. Don't need to monitor it, so where it's not completed it will be coloured still, so they will stand out. So the ones that are coloured would stand out and you think, okay, well they're the ones that are still outstanding. So we've completed one off, so we go back to the reports page and it's updated that to 4. But we've got 2 that's late, as you can see on there. So if we go back to the task manager, see what is actually late, and I've got 2 here. We've got one that's 525 days overdue and another one that's 8 days overdue. You see on here we've got audit new process, so you might have had a new process at a site, you know, I think I want to go and do that. The work is actually still in progress, it's a low priority, but you can change it to medium and the colour will change accordingly, same with high. So the start date when it first appeared on your desk would be say 1st of June, and it was supposed to be done by the 15th of June, and it's a biennial task, and by that it means every 2 years. So it will tell you there the next one is done on the 9th, it's due on the 9th of June 2023. But in actual fact it's just a one audit a new process, it won't be every 2 years, it'll just be the one off. So the recurrence, as we've got up there, is none, so that becomes not applicable. If for instance it was weekly, it would just add a week onto that date to make the next one due on the 22nd of June. And same with monthly, 15th of July, so on and so forth. So we'll say none and it's done, but it's still overdue by 8 days. So we say, right, in actual fact I went to that site and I completed it on that date, so we can go back to that tab and just mark it off as completed. That will then say it's all completed and it's not late because it's gone, it's done. You go back to the dashboard, to the reports page, and now the task late is 1. And if we just take that a little bit further and go to the overdue one, which is this one, work in progress. No, it's this one, isn't it, actually? Yep, the Ashgate pack testing. So we've now completed that, we've had it pack tested, that's marked off, so we should be all clear on there now, and we're down to 0. Total tasks in progress, we've got one that's still in progress but one not started. So you go back to there, see, right, so we've got that's the one in progress and that's the one not started. We've now completed that one off, and we've completed that one. So we're bang up to date and there's nothing outstanding. Go back to the reports page and it will mirror on there. So we've got 11 tasks and everything's completed, there's nothing outstanding. Wouldn't that be lovely? Okay, so continuing on then, that's the task manager. So you can see how that works and how good that is. Again, it's not just completed, you could have to be confirmed if for instance you've got something in review risk assessments, you're going to do it as a team but actually 2 of your team can't make it on that particular date, so you just got to confirm it's going to be done, or it's moved to another action because somebody might be doing another action, so while I'm at it I will do that as well, put that on my action, so you can say it's moved to another action. Okay, or you can have it to no longer required, so actually I made a mistake, they are up to date, they don't need reviewing yet, so it's no longer required. So you could either take out the task altogether or you can just mark it as no longer required. Depends how anarchy you want to be, I suppose. And then you might have another one awaiting feedback, and you can colour code these using the conditional formatting, which is what most of this uses for these colours here. You put your formula in and then you do your conditional formatting to do the colours in, and or to put the to grey out the boxes. Okay, so the next task tab is risk assessments log. So I've just got 12 or 13 in here just as an exercise, but you might have hundreds. Okay, you might have 1 or 2, you might have hundreds, depending on the size of your site. So we'll go in here again. It's telling you this is regarding the review status of your risk assessments, because as we know, they should be reviewed every 1 to 3 years depending on the size or the process. If it is a risk assessment for a work at height, for instance, then you would probably review it every year, especially if you're having a lot of input of new staff that's working on that. So the created date or the review date, because it might be an existing one, is, we're saying on this one, 24th of June. The review date would add on to 3 years. So if I say the review date for that one is, let's say 10th again, 20, COVID year. The next one is due on the 10th of October 2023. But if you take that back, and let's say you've got an old one that was 10th at 2nd 2014, and the review date was done on 10th of February 2017, or was due on the 10th of February 2017, and you are overdue, but it's an active risk assessment. So you go to your reports page again, and you go to your risk assessments, and you see you've got 13 risk assessments. You've got 2 overdue for review. So if we go back to see where they were, we've got that one that we've just done, that's overdue, and oxygen transport risk assessment is overdue, but actually it's just been done, shall we say. So we'll now just say 2106. And now it's not due again because we're doing it every 3 years on ours. It's not due again until 21st of June 24, and it's review not done. Go back to the reports page, and it's now down to 1. So with your risk assessments, you might possibly have seen that there's some actions required because you've highlighted a hazard and you haven't got a control measure on it. So you need to action that control measure to be done, and you can action that out to somebody else. So we then, to follow on from that, we have another task, another tab on your actions. So on this screen, again, this is just information just to make it stand out for what it actually is, showing the colours and everything. So we've got a number of actions. So the report is saying we've got a number of risk assessment actions is 14. So if we go back to that and check that, count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's right. But on here we can see, if you go to reports, it's saying that outstanding risk assessment actions is 3. So there's 3 that are outstanding. And I don't mean good, I mean outstanding as in late. So we've got, and these 3 amber that are in amber instantly jump out at you, so you can see straight away that these are the 3 that are overdue. So if it wasn't overdue, it wouldn't be highlighted. So I've done that to make it stand out, so instantly you can see which 3 they are, so that you don't get lost in the words, because it's easy to not be able to see the wood for the trees. So we're looking, let's say for the sake of argument, we've got one here, it's a manual handling issue, saying review required in light of pending relocation to new premises in Derby, and that's the main basis. You can change that to whichever site you want it to be, but it relates to Derby, so we'll put Derby in it. Which department? So it might be an issue that you might have, for instance, we've got site services, so it might be an issue it's a health and safety issue, but you as a health and safety professional cannot correct the fault, the issue. It has to be another department, whether it's engineering, it's maintenance, site services, transport, or whoever. So you would put down there which site it is. So it might be site services, but if you think, well, actually I want site services to do it, I want that department to do it, but I want to have an involvement with them, I want to be there when they do it, so you could put it down for yourself and the department. At the minute we're saying it's unmanaged. We've now took it on board, so we're now going to work in progress it. So it's work in progress, but it's still outstanding because the due date was on the 13th of November and the start date was 13th of September. This is 2016. So we've now picked it up, we've got to grips with it. The start date is still the 2016, but the due date now, we'll say we're working on it, but we just want a few days, so we'll make that 29th of the 6th. And so we change it to 29th at 6th, and straight away we can see that it's not late and it's not no days overdue. If for sake of argument it was due yesterday, which was the 22nd, it would show as overdue by 1 day. We go to the reports and it's saying that we've got 3 outstanding actions. So if we go back to the risk assessments log and we complete that off, because we've looked at it, we've dealt with it, and now we've completed it. So we can complete it off straight away. It's completed now, so it's taken that out. It's not late. You could leave that to say it was late but it's completed, but it makes it easier all around if you complete it off and it shows on there it is. Then you go back to your reports and then it's now saying 2. So it's still got 2 risk assessment actions outstanding. So let's just, for the sake of argument, as saying with these 2 that are standing out, site services, they've actually, says not started, but they have completed it, and again completed that one. It's site services, so they probably haven't, but go back to the screen and it's 0, and this is on your report screen, which you will click and save and send. Okay, so that's that. So the next screen is, if we just go back to risk assessments, it did show you that when you update something you could actually change it to saying it's in review, or it's something that's not yet been adopted. You might have written a risk assessment but it hasn't been agreed by the company to implement it, and that would be on here. See, we've got active and review, but although it's saying this, I think, was it 14 risk assessments, 13 risk assessments, 13 risk assessments. If we go back to the actual risk assessments log, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we've got 16 risk assessments, but it's only showing on the reports page as having 13. So we have to see, well, why is that? So when you start looking down at the status, you'll see that, here we go, 3 are not written yet. So you've identified a process that's not got a risk assessment for it. So you write that down on the risk assessment log. You know there's not one in place, but it's not yet written. Okay. So you need to do something about that. So we're now we've created that. The review date is 1902 because there's no date in here. So we're now going to create that. And let's say we created it on the 6th. Okay. The review is not due because it's a 3-year one, 1st of June. But we've actually now got it in place and it's active. So you now go back to your reports page and it's saying now you've got 14 risk assessments because we've just added one in that's been accepted. So that is just so it only covers active risk assessments, because the last thing you want to do is to go around the site or to your departments within the sites and find out that you need say, let's say 20 risk assessments. If you put in there 20 risk assessments and a lot are not active, your manager might ask you what in the thunder is going on. Because it's saying that they're not active, especially if he has access to this particular data set. But what you would normally do is just send them the report, because that's all they're going to want to see. They're not going to want to see the ins and outs of it, unless there's something that they feel that they need to get involved with because something's not happening. You might allocate a manager to go and action it and get things moving and get it back into the green. So that's that. So the next thing is our cost register. So all your substances, and again they're covered on the dashboard page down here. Saying we've got 46 substances, 43 cost assessments. So I think, okay, well that can't be right, because ideally your cost assessment pie chart should be split 50-50. If you've got, say, 100 substances, you should have 100 cost assessments to go with them. If there's an anomaly, it will show here as being an off-angle pie chart. So we can see straight away from there with 3 cost assessments out. So we need to find out what's happening there then. So if we scroll down, here we go. We've got 3 items here that are saying no to cost assessment completed. So you've got a new substance in place, it's on site, you've got the MSDS from the manufacturer, and now you're going to you've written your cost assessment. It could be a case that it's not known. You don't know whether there's one or not. Because invariably in some organisations you might say to a head of department or a line managers, I've just seen this substance, have we got a cost assessment for that? And he's going to say, oh yes we have. You're going to go back to your system and think, well, I can't find one. So there's an anomaly there, so you would mark it initially as unknown, and then you go back to your dashboard screen, and it will show there as you still have an anomaly for 3. Go back to there. So right, I've now got the MSDS. I've recorded the date of the product code, the compilation date, the revision date, and the date check for the current version. Okay, and I'll show you what we do with that in a moment. Revision number there, and the storage location. So wherever you put that, it might be on the Chesterfield site, or it might be on your side, but in the storage cupboard. So you just change it. So right, so we've gone back to them 3. I've written it now. So as you remember, on the dashboard it was saying 46, 43, so with 3 anomalies. We found our anomalies. We know which 3 substances that are out straight away without having to start digging through everything. It's there for the finding. So you say yes, that's yes, we've done that one as well, and that's yes. So we go back to our dashboard, and that's gone back to 50-50 now, 46-46. And let's face it, that's exactly as it should be. So going back to where, if you remember just a few moments ago, I put in date checked for the current version and the revision date. If we go slide across a bit, say MSDS is current, and the date reviewed was the 21st, and even covers the time. This can go on forever. MSDS update date, so I usually set that for around a year just to check it, or if it's a date that's on the MSDS, you can an updated one, but it's still an old date or the last date, then you would put it on there. Okay, so completed assessment, date checked for current version. That was done on the 13th of April this year. Now let's say that we haven't checked it since 13th of April 2020 because everybody was busy with COVID then. So we go across. It says the version is current on there. The revision date is 2018. It was changed. What date did I put in there? Oh, 2020. Date version checked. So it's just outside the year. Let's just try April 21. Let's change that again to 12th of 1st 19. Okay, so it's showing on there as current, so I could actually change the key metrics to cover that. So the review date is April 21. And MSDS update is the 1st of June 2018. So MSDS status, if you want to check that, the date last reviewed was December 21, so I usually set it within a year to check it so it stays current. If, let's say for instance, it wasn't checked, the last time it was checked was 14th of December, let's say 2015, it would show straight away review cost assessment. And if you go to the reports, on the cost assessments, I don't know if I put them in yet, I haven't put them on there, but they are on the dashboard. If you go into the cost assessments, I'm lying, it's not actually on there. It was on there, I must have taken it off, I do apologise. But anyway, you get the drift. You change your date, review date is we did that, say in June. 06 06 21, and now it's gone back to current. So that's just a gimme just to show you that it's out to date. And then you've got what I've got here is the cost assessment number, and because I'll be using this on the internal systems, there's actually a link to the actual cost assessment. And I've just made, when I've checked it, I've just made a comment on here that the version is current, and again that is a hyperlink because it will take you back to your own systems where it's stored. So if it says, well, if it says it's there, where is it then? So you just click on that, it takes them straight to it and opens it up. I'm doing this from home and I don't have access to the work systems on the desktop PC. I have a laptop for that, so it will just come with invalid link. So then we move on to our final page, which is the project planner. And you can have any projects on here. So you might have a health and safety project because you might be putting in a new process. So your new process would be, let's say you've got a new process to install new milling machine, for instance, if you're an engineering side. So who's going to be the lead for that? So you say it will probably be me. So you put it down there. The start date is going to be 1st of July, and we're hoping to complete it by the 1st of September. So we've got 09. It's not completed yet, but we're saying it's going to be due in October. Okay, so when we have completed that, we could take it back and just backdate it a bit just to bring it current, so I haven't got to scroll through on the Gantt chart. So we say 01/01 2019, and it's due on the 1st of September 21. So straight away you can see the progress bar's gone right across. But we're actually going to change that now to 30th/06 2021, and we're monitoring that up here. So you can see the bar, and it's amber because it's not completed yet. So you can put your status on here, how far you've gone. You can update it every so often to see where you are with it, and in the actual percentage bar it will actually show you a progress tracker on there. So you can say it's 60% complete now. When you've totally completed it, it's 100%. You click it off and it's gone green, and it grays it out because it's done, but it keeps it there for everyone to see. And then you've got a site with all the sites on authorized users list. Again, this is another one which I've just started on. So you might have a system where you've got a machine that needs, you've got to have an authorized users list to say who's authorized to do it because they've had the training. So what you would do, you put in there who is the authorized user, and you would pick who it's going to be. Let's say Caroline. Is she trained? She's not trained. No, she's not trained. So it's saying they're training required. Who's she going to be trained by? Is it external or known or internal? So we'll say it's going to be internal. Is she competent? Well, she's not been trained by the company or by the training manager, but she has been using it in a previous life. So and she has been used it on site, although she shouldn't have been. She has been. So you can put it on there, and it'll still say training required, because she's competent. But again, with this one, if you go to, so I think I need to drag the formulas down. But if you go to this one, for instance, the fogging machine for the COVID compliance, we've actually trained this guy up, but he is actually competent. But it's saying because he hasn't been trained, you've got to be training required, even though he is competent. And especially if he was not, it would show as red as not competent. So if you've got somebody that was trained, you say yes, you've trained internally, but you've just seen him using it in a way it wasn't designed to be used, then you could put it down here and say actually it's not competent, and that would show straight away that that guy needs to be trained. Okay, so to go back to the reports stage, to show you that everything that's on there can be clicked, saved and sent, and it will save it as a PDF in a folder that you choose on your system, and you can send it automatically by email. So what you do, you click save and send, it opens up the box where you want to save it to, you save it to there, it's already in there, so it asks me if I want to overwrite it, and it goes, and then it will open up the Outlook bar once it's published it. Outlook bar's up there, and straight away it's coming up with email and the report in there. So rather than send it, I can open that up, the attachment up, it will open that report up, and this is what it would look like. So whether you send that to, we'll just scroll down and say, oh, okay, we've got 11 tasks raised, there's one outstanding. Okay, risk assessment. So straight away he's got a snapshot, and you might send him that once a month or once a quarter, whichever it happens to be. Okay, so I hope you've found that interesting. If you would like it, I mean, it's going to be updating quite regularly on a regular basis, so in a few months' time it might look totally different again, but more functional. As I say, this is a beta version, so although there were a few little niggles and a few errors, that is to be expected in a beta version. But if you would like it, all I ask is, I'm not for the in the wildest dreams going to charge you guys for it, because I've been there, I know what it's like. So a company's going to say, oh, we're not paying for that, so you're going to finish up paying for it out of your pocket. All I ask you to do is to like and or subscribe. You don't have to subscribe to the channel, but if you like it, and then just put down in the comments that you would like a copy, and give me your email address, I'll send it to you by email. When I do send it, just be warned, I will send it and it will be totally open for the formula bars, so that will allow you to change all the key metrics and all the sites and everything to your own sites. But be very careful on a formula cell, that you might end up deleting something in there and screwing the whole system up. You can sometimes back out of it, but not always. So there we are, guys. So I hope you've learnt something. I know it's gone on a bit longer than I intended, but I wanted to be keen to just to show you how it actually works at this moment in time. Okay, thanks guys for watching. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll put stuff up as I need it, especially the new bit. You know, if you click like and subscribe and click the bell, then if I update it, I'll drop it upon here and say it's updated, and it should tell you. Okay, most of all, keep safe, and again, thanks very much for your time watching this. I hope you're still awake. Cheers, bye bye.